welcome everyone to the Wheels Museum. We have a special event going on today. I wish those listening were here. We have the most famous Boy Scout band in America performing this morning unexpectedly. So we're always looking for events, and a lot of things have happened unexpectedly, and today we're especially happy to have something just this poor Allan Trosclair, who's such a fabulous volunteer, just said he would do this podcast within the last 30 seconds. So very, very grateful to have you always here and helping, especially this morning. So you do many things here at Wheels, and would you like to tell the audience some of the things that you do at Wheels?
Well, I've been coming here for about 5-6 years now, and done a number of things, including building an airplane that we hung. We hung one that I didn't build, and then keeping some of the equipment running, the electric train that the kids ride on. Every kid that come here wants to ride on the train, and helping move some of the equipment around. Sometimes we reposition some of the exhibits. A new exhibit comes in, or we have to remove an exhibit for various reasons. And just keeping the situation flexible, you might say, so no one gets hurt, everyone enjoys it, and keeping the crowds moving. One of the things I do on a monthly basis, I tabulate all the figures for visitors through Wheels, and it's sort of interesting. I just finished last night the May numbers, and it is sort of interesting when I realize how many people we have from foreign countries visiting here. I mean, we have every state of the union has been represented here, and might be one person who's visiting or assigned to the Air Force Base or something of that nature. On the other hand, we have some pretty interesting situations. I mean, just last month we had 5 individuals from France and Cyprus, places. How did they find out about this place? And I always like to ask people, when I ask where are you from, are you local, how did you find out? And 99% of the time, it's they were looking for something to do on a layover or a stop, or their RV broke down en route from A to B. They're a quote stuck in Albuquerque, and they found the museum on the internet. So it's encouraging to know that people are using the internet and finding us. Okay. An interesting story. 2 summers ago, there was a couple in here, and I wasn't sure where they were from, so I asked, and they were from Spain. So I got to chatting with them, and I'm a big traveler, and I've been to Spain a number of times. So I called my wife and I said, let's have this couple over for dinner, because he's here on a 6-month sabbatical at the University of New Mexico studying technology in the operating room. And his wife is here with him for 2 months, and she's a doctor too. So we developed a friendship, and we had about 6 or 8 meals together, and we've been maintaining contact. He went back last year, and from Alicante, Spain. So you meet a lot of interesting people here. That's what fires me up. And the kids watching the fire in their eyes when they see that train.
I love it. Oh, that's that. I never knew that story. That's so interesting. We had a lady in from Russia yesterday with an adorable little boy in arms, and they were in the gift shop. And he wanted to buy a little wooden truck. It was handmade, beautiful. And I picked it up, and it said $3. I thought, why is this so cheap? Well, there was a wheel missing. So I said to the child, well, I'm just going to give it to you. And in Russian, he says to me, "Niet." He didn't want that broken truck. So his mother bought him something that didn't have a road. It was adorable. And then she asked me, can we have a birthday party here? So I said, yes, of course. We have people from Israel, as you say, from all over the world come in, and they love it, and they tell other people. And so we're getting more and more popular all the time and busy all the time, which is just wonderful. If you would like to, I'd love to. You have such a fascinating history, and you bring so much to the museum. Do you want to tell the listeners anything about what you've done, or how it relates to what we're doing, or anything about that airplane building, or anything? You know so much and do so much.
Well, the airplane building was sort of interesting. Don Bragg, I believe you've done a podcast with him. Don is an engineer by education training. I'm just interested in building model airplanes for almost 70 years. And I said, when we found out that it was parts to a plane that someone had dropped off here, we were able to get the plans from the manufacturer. I said, well, it can't be much more difficult than a model plane, which was putting my foot in my mouth big time, because it took us about 14 months to get it finished and hung. And the process was very interesting. We've had help from a number of individuals in Wheels, and everyone, of course, gave their opinion and directions. Some of them good, some of them we ignored. But basically, it was hand built. It's we call it a popsicle stick plane because we decided to leave the plane uncovered so the kids could see what it looks like on the inside, without the skin, and consequently, it's very open. It looks like a skeleton, and it's just a bunch of sticks that are about 3/4 of an inch wide and about 1/8 of an inch thick that all had to be cut by hand. As an aside, an interesting story, 2 weeks ago I was up in Colorado and I visited the Wings Over the Rockies, and I looked up and guess what I saw? I saw a sister plane. And they had it uncovered, so I found a guy and I started talking to him. I said, why did you hang it like that? He says, well, I had to take the covering off because it was deteriorating, but what we did is we hung it so the kids could see what it looks like on the inside.
Oh my gosh. Did you ask him for the plane?
The what?
Did you ask him for their plane? Because this one's lonesome.
They won't give us anything. They want everything.
Just like we do. Just like we do, we want everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's funny the things you pick up here. You meet very interesting people besides the workers. Everyone here has their own unique story. And the visitors, and it's amazing how many visitors will talk to you. And you learn a lot about them. They don't have to ask a lot of questions about you. And it's encouraging to see the number of people coming through. Last year, as I was saying, I keep track of the statistics. At this point, we're getting about 8,000, 9,000 visitors a year, with a large number from obviously out of state. Of course, New Mexico visitors carry the weight here, and we do get visitors from all over the state. Almost every corner of the state, we have a representation from there on our visitor log. So, but it is encouraging as we're getting more and more information out through the news media, the press, and like I said, I ask people, where'd you hear about it? And some people are seeing articles in the paper, some recent articles,
yes.
Which were very complimentary. And of course, we're trying to ride what's happening at the rail yards as it becomes more viable and more people go to the rail yards. And every Sunday there's a booth at the marketplace, which is open May through October in one of the older buildings, the blacksmith shop. And people get a chance to learn a little bit about wheels there. And if they're really curious, they can walk a couple blocks, get a little exercise, and come visit. By the way, the visits cost nothing.
Wonderful.
So that's my story.
I love it. I had a meeting when you talk about our relationship with our visitors. I had a meeting with another museum head here in Albuquerque, and he's having a very hard time getting volunteers.
Yeah.
And I said, you should stand at the door like we do and ask people, would you like to volunteer? Where are you from? We try to make a friendship. As you gave that beautiful story about the people from Spain, they'll remember that their whole lives and feel close to you and close to Albuquerque. And that's what we try to do. We try to curry friendships with people from all over the world and bring in new help and new visitors. And this morning someone called, they love the museum. The husband is giving away his entire Lionel train collection, which is enormous. We're going to give that to the Wheels Museum. Also, we're talking about airplanes. It looks like we're going to get an Eclipse jet. It looks like the V-wing jet is coming to Wheels. It's not completely signed off on yet, but it looks like it. So we're looking for new exhibits, although, as you said, we're full, and we're trying to get into the machine shop, into the bigger building, because we are low on space, but we're trying to get it in as much as we can and save as much as we can for the history of New Mexico. One fabulous thing that's happening is we're starting our track work on July 7th to put in 440 feet of track to bring 5 private rail cars here. So we're hoping to soon have that. The 2016 locomotive is working to repair the turntable. They're working here today actually to work on some new track that they're putting in. So we're trying to make this a real railroad center again, with excursion trips and history and culture and also technology for the future. We're also very happy we have 2 new interns. We have a high school intern and a college intern for the summer. So we're always looking for people to mentor and teach and bring in the young new blood to help us with what we're doing here.
Going back to the Eclipse airplane, that Eclipse, for people that may not know, was a small private manufacturer here that built very reliable small light jets. They were highly recognized and very reliable, and they were sold around the world, but for some reason or other they decided to cease operations, and they sold the operation to another company. So if we can get an Eclipse jet, it would be one of the original planes, you might say, from Albuquerque, New Mexico. And Leba mentioned the volunteers. Just to, as an update, we have people here that volunteer. They'll come in an hour a day. And we're open right now during May, 6 days a week. And anybody that does want to come in, their time is greatly appreciated. We try not to squander their time. But for the month of May, we had 266 volunteer sign-ins. Now that might mean somebody signed in 3 days, but that's what we have, and we have a total of over almost 1,020 hours of volunteer time for the month of May alone. And again, we were only open 6 days a week. So, and anyone wants to volunteer, we're open to taking you in and using your time and your suggestions.
That's exactly right. It's wonderful. And making friends. Another thing that we're doing that we're very excited about, we're working on a book for the Wheels Museum. So we're asking authors to write short stories about something that they love at Wheels Museum, that means something to them, means something to their family, their history. We've had several wonderful stories by prominent authors handed in so far, and we're looking for more stories. So if you'd like to come in and see the Wheels Museum and write a story about something that recalls the memory of your family or history or something that you love or want to write about, we would love to talk to you about writing that for our book. We hope to publish that book and so that people, when they come here to visit, can take a piece of the Wheels Museum home with them wherever there might be. So I'm writing a story, and as I say, several other people have written stories about things that have meant a great deal to them that they've seen in here. We are getting some wonderful donations, as I mentioned, and meeting with and working with the UNM Architecture Department, CNM Architecture Department, CNM Art Department, UNM Art Department, and many teachers. We have been asked to do curriculum for the East San Jose School and other schools. We're working with the Humanities Council. We received the State Historic Preservation Award last month. So we're doing everything we can to help the community and bring in children and teach them. We've heard from many parents and teachers that the children nowadays don't have hands-on opportunities. So we try to give them that. Our biggest problem is children cry when they leave. So we don't want them to be sad. We want them to have opportunities to come here. We're working with foster children now, and many, many churches and many, many groups, private schools, anyone who wants to come in of any age and enjoy with us and learn here what we have to offer. We have about 10,000 exhibit items now, and we want you to come over. So this is famous Allan Trosclair, who's a wonderful friend of our family and a wonderful volunteer. I cannot thank you enough for coming in with 30 seconds notice and giving us a wonderful report about what you do here and encouraging others to come in and helping us in every way. We're so grateful to you.
Great. I think that one of the things that we didn't mention was the fact that there's a lot of history here, and a lot of people in town, this city, do not understand why this facility is here, why it was put here, and what it did to create a tremendous community here.
That's exactly right. Allan Trosclair, we all love you. We thank you so much. You're wonderful to have here. You're so helpful. You're a wonderful friend. You bring in new people. You do all the work. So just so very, very grateful that we are friends, and appreciate your coming in at the last minute like this today to help me too.
Okay, my pleasure.
Thank you.
One of the reasons I'm here is because the history here, the facility was built here many years ago. A lot of people in Albuquerque don't understand or know the history of this facility and what this facility did to the community. It changed the economy and the culture of this region. It's the gateway to the Southwest.
And you've traveled all over the world, and you bring us he brings in fascinating information about other museums that give us inspiration. We hope we give them inspiration, and that's exactly right. This is the centerpiece of the Southwest, and Albuquerque would not be a modern city without it.
That's right.
And so the more I'm here, the more I love it, and I feel that with many people who come in, they understand the depth of our history and our culture here, and we're trying to preserve it forever and ever and make it better all the time. So thank you again
Great.
so very much.
My pleasure.